What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is November 13th of 2017. Well, folks, as you all keep up with the channel, you know that a few days out of each week I recap on all the daily price action, news, and topics related to cryptocurrency. And today we've got a lot to talk about. First off, I got a recap on what I wanted to talk about yesterday in regards to the aftermath of the Bitcoin Cash debacle. We definitely got to have a little bit of talk about that. However, try to keep it short, try to keep it condensed, and I won't be able to talk about everything, but at least I'll be able to get out what I generally want to say, okay? And along with that, we do have some other things we have to look at. We got to look at the price action of the market leaders, as well as a few other altcoins in the space. And then, as well as that, some positive news for those who are long on Bitcoin and interested in the institutional money. Coming into Bitcoin, there's news of the CME Group finally announcing a general start date to when Bitcoin futures will be available. Hint, they will be available in 2017, supposedly. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the update. So, as I said, I'm going to try and keep this condensed and short, but there was an event the other night, I think as many of you are aware by now, and we did 2 live streams on it. There are 2 parts to the live stream, as well as a video talking about this about a day or 2 ago, or sorry, 2 days ago. And man, there's a lot to say on this. So basically, long story short, we almost saw what appeared to be the cashing. And if you've heard that term being tossed around, you don't understand it. I know many of you are like, Nick, what kind of lingo are you throwing at me? The cashing referred to the fact that Bitcoin Cash was going to pass Bitcoin in valuation. And this was due to the fact that, it had lower transaction fees, and it was this forked currency that was a proposed better proponent than the original Bitcoin Core. And yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, there's a debate between the 2 megabyte block size increase, and a lot of people, are very heated about it. And I think there's some room for discussion and to just, talk about it. And I know I have my opinions on it. But putting all that aside, I'm not upset at people who support Bitcoin Cash or people who support Bitcoin. What I do hate is why this happened. And at the end of the day, I don't know if you guys know this or not in the general sense of things, but this was pure market manipulation. It was. I can't fathom any reason as to why this happened outside of large institutional investors being the mining pools, being Chinese miners, etc. Large institutional players coming in and causing this. Now, why do I think that? Well, I mean, guys, come on. The transaction fee, it's extremely lower. I mean, this is obviously the reason for the cashing. I think people just started realizing it now. It's finally coming to fruition. The cashings happen. I mean, after all, let's look at those transactions. Yeah, right, Bitcoin. But I thought down here this was the exponential run-up of the transactions. I thought it couldn't have just been traders, who were buying Bitcoin Cash and putting it in their wallets. No, that can't be at all. I mean, gosh, after all, the hash rate and everything. I mean, we know that. The miners, they were switching to Bitcoin Cash. What? No, I mean, come on, this can't be. I mean, active addresses. I mean, people are swarming over to Bitcoin Cash. It's almost as if this is exactly what happened before when Bitcoin Cash rallied back in August. Maybe there wasn't any cashing really happening, and maybe it was miners trying to influence markets and lead to different public perception. Well, I gotta say, no matter how you feel on it, no matter if you believe in the 2 megabyte block size increase or anything, I could care too less where you stand on that, really. Folks, this is pure market manipulation, and if you want to sit here and say that this is normal, that this is the standard, I'm going to let you all know it doesn't matter if you believe I'm right on this being market manipulation. The SEC is going to step in, and they're not going to let this happen. This is this kind of stuff as to why we need general regulation, because it's starting to prove that cryptocurrencies, at least Bitcoin in this case, is not very decentralized after all. There are very centralized players, be it the mining pools and the large-scale miners in China, that have a huge impact on markets. There's no way retail investors, you and I, average everyday investors, could do this. Only institutional players can. And the fact that they can do this to this kind of market and just get away with it, I don't know. I just, again, I feel bad about it, because I know even during the live stream when I was generally, telling people, guys, look, I'm not doing anything here. You really shouldn't be trading this. And it's not, set in stone that this was going to replace Bitcoin. I know a lot of people instantly lost 1/3 to half of their portfolio because of this. Now, of course, to be fair, at the end of the day, I got to say this, guys, it's your fault at the end of the day. You put money into it. Sorry. I mean, at the end of the day, that is the truth. But at the same time, this shouldn't be traditionally happening in markets. And it sure as hell shouldn't be happening in something such as cryptocurrencies that's decentralized. That's something that is, even though it is volatile, yes, should not be able to be manipulated like this to such a scale that almost led to the destruction of one of the largest currencies in the cryptocurrency space. I don't think that's right. And we really need to start asking ourselves with all these forks, especially with Bitcoin Cash, do we want Bitcoin to be a currency that people use as a means of exchange? Because quite frankly, I don't think people are using it like that. I don't care. Yeah, sure, you can make the argument of transaction fees, but at the end of the day, people are buying Bitcoin because they see it as a tangible asset or an intangible asset. They see it as a digital asset. They see it as something they can hold long term and gain value with over time. And I don't think something with 21 million supply is meant to be a currency. Just my personal take. People aren't using it like that, and they haven't been for a long time, even when transactions were cheap. There are other competitors in this space. There are new currencies that start from the ground up. They don't rip the Bitcoin brand when they want to make a serious change. So again, no matter where you stand on the 2 megabyte block size increase, we can't have decisions coming from the top and coming down to affect all of us as holders. We need to have decisions come from the community, a decentralized approach that go to the top and make and implement those changes. It needs to start with us. We need to start talking about whether or not this is going to be acceptable in cryptocurrencies or not. Markets will do what they want. There will always be market manipulation. But to this kind of scale addresses a serious issue for the long-term stability. Because if you think this is going to lead to long-term adoption of cryptocurrencies, it's not. If you think that the SEC is going to be fine with this, they're not. We've got to start talking about this. So again, my little short ranting and rave. Obviously, the statistics show that Bitcoin Cash was not being replaced. Adoption does not correlate with price action, as we've obviously seen now. This was pure market manipulation. And if BitHum wouldn't have crashed, we might have seen Bitcoin Cash be manipulated all the way up above an entire Bitcoin. And that's billions of dollars in valuation. Keep in mind, billions that were just created out of thin air within a matter of minutes. Not what I want to see. All right, so putting all that aside, topic for another time, as much as I do want to talk about it. I know you all have heard me talk about it way too much. Let's get on to talking about the top 5 leaders in the market. First off, Bitcoin, more than anything. A lot of people have been asking me if I think that this was the correction of Bitcoin and that we're going to see new highs. To be honest, I wouldn't be too shocked if this was going to be the correction in Bitcoin temporarily. As much as I was thinking we'd go down to 5K, with the kind of event that pulled this down, which was the Bitcoin Cash debacle, you've got now an opportunity for Bitcoin to go up, and there's something else that's going to push this up, most likely, the futures news, as we'll talk about later on the video. So with Bitcoin futures supposedly coming this year, within a matter of really a month, we've got a question on our hands. Is this going to ride up to 10K? I mean, that's the big even we're all watching for. And personally, I think that you could see it because you had a bounce off the 50-day. So this obviously didn't want to come down and have a full-scale correction yet. It's waiting for that to come through the futures. And I think that, down here, you possibly could make additions to your portfolio. You got to think about that in a rational sense, and you have to understand it's not financial advice. But I haven't made any additions so far. My fiat position I still have sitting on standby. But if this holds relatively well, I'm going to give it another day or two. I will definitely consider possibly adding into my Bitcoin position. But again, haven't made any additions yet. Keeping an eye on it, and we'll have to see. But this is definitely optimistic to see that with this exuberance came an exuberant pullback, and now we're having definitely more of some reasonable price action, of course, due to the news. So this is a little more justified. But again, still living off the hopes that this is going to be delivered in 2017. So it's really the risk to reward profile. Do you see Bitcoin futures coming out? And do you think that will be enough to, engineer the push to 10,000? Do you think institutional money can do that? I think it very well could. But we're going to have to see if it can hold this, which I think is going to be important. All right, next up is Ethereum BTC. Let me make sure I get this on the right exchange here. Ethereum BTC. Let's go ahead here on Bitfinex. There we go. We got more price action here to play with. So Ethereum, I think, is going through the correction that most top altcoins are going through right now, and you're going to see this general trend with practically all other altcoins out of the top 5 market leaders. And the reason being is just because Bitcoin is killing it right now. USD valuation is actually not down too much, but Bitcoin has rebounded a lot over the past few, I guess over the past 2 days. So we have to understand that this is probably normal, not to mention altcoins have gotten a nice boost up. Ethereum went up more than 25% comparative to Bitcoin, around 30%. So it's understandable that there's a day or two of correction. What I would like to see is Ethereum generally kind of hold this level. If altcoins can hold here, and if we continue to get a correction in Bitcoin, it'd be interesting to see Ethereum get up here and find support on the 50-day. But for now, I'm waiting to see if this can hold a little bit more. We haven't really gotten a full base yet. It looks like there's something potentially forming here, but I'd like to see more of a smooth base here for Ethereum. So not making any trades right now, just keeping an eye on it. Again, nothing official right now. Now, again, I know it's a controversial topic. I'm not going to talk about this in a fundamental sense, but on a trader's perspective, to be honest, Bitcoin Cash was actually looking relatively optimistic after the crazy run-up. I know I would not be buying into this either way because I buy low and I sell high. But in general, with Bitcoin Cash, it was holding technically well on the 50-hour. There's a clear indication of support here. 2 times it held there, and then the 3rd time it came down, it looked like it might have held, but it broke through. Now, as you can see here, there was obvious support at previous resistance. As you all know, I say that a lot, but my time-tested statement usually proves correct on this. I mean, it's a proven thing in markets that in most cases, previous resistance will act as the first level of support. And we saw that here. However, even though it got a double bottom here and tried to test back upwards, it got shot down at the 50-hour, which was proving support again. So in this case, we're getting the opposite of that. What tends to be previous support tends to be new resistance. This is the bearish side analogy. So again, not looking to go on a technical aspect, not to mention, I'm not making any trades in this, both in a fundamental sense, and then also I buy low and I sell high. Simple market principles. Reason why I didn't trade it up here. Even if the cash need to come through. That's just not my business. All right, so next up, XRP BTC Ripple. A lot of people have been asking about Ripple as well. Ripple shows generally the same exact thing we're seeing with most other altcoins and the large cap space. Nothing too bullish. What's nice is that it did have a decent correction, and you would get it at a discount comparative to the highs. The question is, do you think it can keep up, much like I would say with Ethereum and any other player, with the CME group launching Bitcoin futures? That's the question here. So again, keep that in mind. I just honestly don't think right now. I think we might see a little bit more of a correction, possibly down here to where we saw a little bit of a resistance level down here. As you can see, the candles were struggling to break through. If it can find support down here and ride along there and curve back up as the 50-day comes down, might be good news for altcoins. But again, if Bitcoin starts to see a topping over again, maybe some of these large caps might be a good play. Not really betting on it right now. I think the futures news is going to push this up. All right. And last but not least, LTC BTC. Let's go ahead and load an exchange that's going to give us the full range of price. There we go. I'm starting to get in the habit of that, guys. I gotta get better at it, but trading views sometimes doesn't work with me. All right, so Litecoin, I gotta say, out of all the players, and I hate to say it because I know a lot of you like Litecoin out there, Litecoin's looking bearish, and there's 2 reasons for it. As always, price levels matter, and as you can see, the million Satoshi mark, a very big even, served as a support level for Litecoin various times in the past. And now it's serving as its resistance. Not to mention, you've got the 50-day weighing this down. 2 very bad signs. So this could definitely see some weighing down for quite some time. Again, if altcoins generally go up, it might be an opportunity for it to break through, come up here and find support on it again. But you're going to need a decent, sized run up in altcoins to do that. And Litecoin is really, I think, only going to move if altcoins in general move up. But I don't think we're going to get that option, especially with CME Group futures. So, yeah, definitely not looking to add on Litecoin right now. Just my personal opinion. Got to do your own research and analysis on this, but those two indicators are keeping me out of it. All right. So a few things. There's two players that are actually another set of large mid caps. You got XMR, BTC, Monero that had a fantastic run up going over the past few days, and now we're starting to see a correction. What I'm looking for with XMR is to potentially see this start to correct and cool down along the 50-day here. Again, you're going to find this along with the other player we're watching in the kind of larger mid cap space, but generally watching to see if this can find support on the 50-day and look at that Fibonacci level right there. Not to mention it was previous resistance around that area as well. So if you can see this start to cool down here after and hold the majority of these gains, you could see possibly Monero continue up. I think privacy is going to continue to be a big topic in crypto, but we'll have to see if it can really hold this level, because it did have a fantastic rally over the past few days. It might need a little bit of a cool down. That would be the perfect cool down if it could just hold that level. And second, I want to take a look at Dash BTC. So Dash is showing us the exact same kind of price action along the 50-day riding down. Notice how we broke through the 50-day here, and we've got the stars aligning here. So we've got a course of correction. This was a lot of over exuberance coming into the price, a little bit overextended by most means, but we've got two things that are showing us potential signs that this could find some base support and really be a candidate to watch. What I'm looking for here with Dash, seeing as it's above the 50-day and above the base support line here, is a potential of Dash coming down and cooling down over the next few days and riding along the 50-day, which hopefully will curve around this area, as well as the support line, and finding that double level support. And if it can do that, that would be very nice. Now, I'm not sure exactly about that because this is, again, quite extended from over 3,500,000 Satoshis, but you could get it. Dash is definitely a big player, and a lot of people see it as a potential alternative for those out there who are, calling for Bitcoin Cash. And if that doesn't go through, you could very well see Dash take it off. And honestly, at the end of the day, I'm all for that. If Dash seems to be the right payment solution and stuff. I mean, it is digital cash after all. But on a technical sense, I think you're going to see this continue to break down and hopefully find that support down there over the next day or so. And if you can get that cool down, if it can hold down there along that line and the 50-day, I think that would be tremendous to see that in the sense of price action. But again, nothing overly complicated and stuff. We gotta be patient and understand that if you are going to make a trade in that area, if you're going to take that risk, keep in mind you are paying almost a double premium from the lows down there. Not exactly double premium, but relatively close. So again, just keep in mind you're paying a little bit higher than you would have during when everyone was panicking and selling altcoins, and that's when you're supposed to buy in most cases. But if it can hold here, I gotta say, I mean, it's had historical support on this line, and we broke through it once. So we'll have to see if it can hold up here. That will be the ultimate test for Dash. All right, so general look at crypto markets real quick. As we take a look here at market cap, actually, let's go ahead and take a look here at the monthly to get a good picture of this as this loads. As you all know, on over the past few days, we had seen a pretty stellar pullback in Bitcoin, causing markets to definitely correct. And then during the whole Bitcoin Cash debacle, things were pretty off and on. It was pretty much an exchange of value from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash. And altcoins stayed pretty flat as well. But it seems like we're back in pretty much normal levels, and I think that seeing as markets are coming up this strong and we're really not facing any big even levels, I think what we're going to see more than anything is resistance at $250 billion. I think when altcoins finally get their rally, if Bitcoin does go to 10K, altcoins will eventually follow. And you will see, as you can see down here, our altcoins are gaining back valuation, and they still have to rally up to new highs, in my opinion. So if that's to come in, as well as Bitcoin 10K, you will see most likely market capitalization go to $250 billion, $250 billion. How amazing would that be? Again, just what I'm looking at right now. But the thing that I think is going to take us there is the institutional money from futures. So the CME Group, as you all know, is one of the largest derivatives companies in the world, and they're looking to launch Bitcoin futures in the next few weeks coming into December. So as you all can see in the article here, this is kind of what I was kind of being skeptical of. I was saying, well, I honestly think, it's very optimistic to think that they could do this in 2017 because they really only got till December to do it, and it looks like they were listening in on DataDash, and turns out that they're actually planning to launch it by, I think, the second week in December. I think we have the quote down here. Let me see real quick. I think sometime in the second week of December, you'll see our contract out for listing, he told the network. So again, not exactly their contract for their listing. Not exactly sure if they can deliver it before 2017. That's the thing we got to keep in mind here. It's good to at least hear a word of it, because I think obviously the CME group knows that everyone's excited and waiting to hear what their plans are for it. And if you want to get a little more details, this is the video they have in here. This is Terry Duffy, who is the CEO and chairman of CME group. And again, either way, I mean, this is optimistic news for the price of Bitcoin. Now, in a fundamental sense, some people feel a little bit worried as to whether or not institutional money can get involved. Either way, folks, at the end of the day, the sad thing is, whether or not you support it or not, as long as there is an exchange, there will be institutional money. And futures trading just makes it easier for institutional traders, because a lot of them don't want to go and actually get a Bitcoin address and buy Bitcoin off Coinbase or, on GDAX or Gemini, wherever it may be. They want to trade futures. They want to trade it on exchanges. And opening this up to the, well, I could say the size of derivatives markets, it's probably a little misleading, but it is a $1.2 quadrillion market. Yes, you heard me right. It's 10 times the amount of GDP. Now, that's not just going to all flow into Bitcoin. I'm not trying to mislead you on that regard. I would say that you're going to probably get a few $100 million, if not a few $1 billion trading on the futures when they open up. A lot of Wall Street speculators would love to play this. At the end of the day, though, this will most likely push up the price. It's not guaranteed. Keep in mind, you can short it as well. And if there's enough shorting pressure, that can show that there's a negative view from Wall Street. But I don't think that's gonna happen. When you allow them an equal opportunity to play it, I think they all want a little piece of the pie as well. And you've seen that when people are leaving Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and going to found ICO projects. They obviously are eating it up as .com 2.0. They think that blockchain is the next big thing. I personally believe it is on a fundamental sense, but I think it's we're definitely on the higher end of this run-up. So I wouldn't get too eager as eager as Wall Street is, I think, because this is their first time playing with it. And they've got a lot more money to play with than us retail investors do, and even some of the miners and the big players in the Bitcoin space. So again, keep calm. Don't. I wouldn't say to rush it too fast, because this isn't happening until December, and a month in crypto seems like a year. But this really could be some good news for Bitcoin. I think it is better news than bad if you're optimistic and if you're long on Bitcoin. And this will keep, I think, much like how the forks have, from altcoins really getting a serious run up in the next week or so, because all the hype's going into Bitcoin right now. But once that hype kind of settles, or when Bitcoin gets around 10K, I think you're going to see altcoins be the next kind of hedge against Bitcoin. But either way, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm glad we could talk about the aftermath of the Bitcoin Cash event, as well as talk about some interesting news and some price action in markets. And yes, I know I've been doing a lot of update videos outside of my live stream. I think after what happened, we can go about doing things normally, and there's some coins I want to still talk about, as well as doing some educational videos. I've got a lot planned in the pipeline for DataDash. Just been a little bit busy recently with all that's happening in crypto, as well as my personal job, but more news coming on all of that later on. All right, I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you all later. Snaps for all of you. Take care.